Welcome to another edition of Why Come Japan. I'm your host, Mr. Radri, where I interview creatives about their craft and how it relates to Japan. And today on my show is a man, the myth, the legend. I don't know. What handle do you want? Actually, you know what? I'm changing up the style of the show. Let's just begin with the first question because I want people... Okay, let me just state that I've been looking at the YouTube analytics, and I notice most of you guys who watch this show, I mean, not to talk down to you, but most people watch the show, they always drop out about 5 minutes into the show. So, in order to keep the show going, and to keep the eyeballs on the screen, or ears in your, listening, I'm going to start off with the first question. Who are you?
My name is Scott Ackerman, but I prefer to go by Unrested. Actually, people can just call me Scott or Unrested or whatever. It's fine.
Yeah, maybe that's not the best transition. Who are you? That's a weird thing to start a podcast with. But yes, today on my show is Scott Ackerman, a.k.a. Unrested, longtime YouTuber. How long have you been doing YouTube for?
Well, I just returned. Hence I'm on this show now, but 10 years, I want to say. If we start counting the time that I've been doing it now, we're going on 11. And
you've been doing it since 2009? Is that right? Because that's when I started.
Yeah, easily. Yeah, I think, well, okay, I actually started the channel in 2006, and I did videos before I got to Japan that were just like, they've been deleted from my channel. They were kind of really weird and goofy. But if you want to count that time, I guess you could say all the way back in... Did YouTube start back then in 2006?
No, it started in 2005, I believe. Maybe it might be 2006.
Okay.
I could probably check that information.
It was back when there was, like, stars on the site, and you could, like, video
give
reply
5 stars.
And... Yeah.
Thumbs up. Okay, the Google Sensei says February 14th, 2005.
Whoa, that's weird. The only reason I say that's weird is I came to Japan February 14th.
Wow.
Yeah, isn't that weird?
That's very happenstance.
Yeah, I didn't expect that to... So 2006, I made
Valentine's Day.
Really small videos. Yeah, I made 3 really, really small videos. And and I came to Japan 2007, February 14th. I made one video, I think in 2000, I want to say 2008 or 2009. And I didn't make another video for a very long time until like maybe 50 people watched it. And this is back when YouTube, if you had 100 people watch your video, you're like, damn, I'm famous. Like, you know how.
Yeah, I remember what that felt like. I mean, now it's just like, man, I'm only getting 100 views. What's wrong with me? I gotta go home and question my life.
You know, what did I say wrong?
All right. Well, I guess that kind of answers the second question, because they always say that with journalism, you're supposed to ask the 6 W's. The who are you, and then when did you come to Japan? So I guess that question's off the table. You came on Valentine's Day.
Yes.
So where have you gone in Japan? I guess where are you now? However you want to answer the where question.
Well, I've always lived in Osaka. I chose Osaka from the beginning, and I've never wanted to leave Osaka, but I have traveled extensively. I can note that I have been as far as Sapporo, all the way down to Ishigaki, and even farther than Ishigaki. I was almost in like Taipei. What was the name of the place? Oh, it's got this like crazy long name that just means like rock in the middle of the ocean. Like that's all it means.
It sounds very Japanese.
Yeah, it was great. It had like 500 people who lived on there. They didn't have cars. They used oxes to get around. It was sick. But I've been to almost every. There's only one place I haven't been. I haven't been to Hiroshima.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but I've been to like Fukuoka, Nagoya, Tokyo, blah, and sorry.
Not a Tokyo fan in the house, I see.
But I think You know what I think it is? I think when you arrive, if you arrive in Tokyo, you love Tokyo, and I get it. But if you arrive in Osaka, you love Osaka, and I get it. Like, I'm pretty sure that's the way it is.
So it's kind of like, well, I don't know. When I came here for college, and they say like whenever you go someplace for college, you end up staying there, the rest of your life. I don't know if that's true, but it makes a lot of sense.
I would have been in Tallahassee for the rest of my life.
I guess, yeah, that answers the next question. Where from?
Well, okay. I
should ask another question. Do you know Japanese ramen? I'm sorry. I had to ask it.
I can use chopsticks to eat it too.
Okay,
I don't know.
Great.
Yeah, I don't.
We're
I don't
making
have to
progress
wear the necklace
here.
Yeah. I used to wear a necklace with like a fork on it, and that's how I used to eat it. But now I learned chopsticks.
Yeah.
Okay. Origin story. I was born in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. The church I was baptized in burned down. So that was kind of like, I think that was like foreshadowing. It is a true story. It actually did burn down. I moved to Florida when I was 4, I want to say. And then I almost lived in Florida the rest of my life. I lived all over Florida. I was in mostly Jacksonville, Boca Raton, the Rat's Mouth, the armpit of Florida, known as Tampa, Orlando, Florida, home to O-Town, RIP, Tallahassee, and that's where I went to college at FSU. Go Seminoles, all right. I don't have a single Seminole shirt or hat or anything representing the team. I went to one football game. Then I finished college and I drifted. All right. I waxed existential. And
like Tokyo drifted?
Yes. Something I'm questioned about quite a bit on my channel. Do you Tokyo drift in Osaka? No, we Osaka drift. Bro, come on. I went into art. I majored in art. So if people don't know, that was my major. And then my minor was education. I taught art for 2 years. And then where I taught it was a very, very small place called Lakeland. And it ran out of money for the arts. They just like, they were like, drama department, don't need that. Music department, don't need that. Art department, you're going to peace. All right. So I didn't have a job anymore at public schools. And I still wanted to teach. So Nova dropped by into Florida, the good old Nova. What is that, a bunny? What's their mascot?
It's like a bunny. It's like a bunny, yeah. Oh, wrong one.
It's like a hybrid between a pig and a bunny or something. It's ugly.
Is it?
Yeah,
they do that here. Maybe you know the Nara mascot. What?
Goro Kawaii, grotesque and kawaii.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I was thinking about, I forgot what that mascot's name was, but there's one where
the
like
Nara mascot,
it's like a Buddha with the deer antlers, and some people were saying that was bad taste or it's like mocking religion or something. I don't know.
Did Japanese people say that or did foreigners?
I don't know. Yeah, I probably should check my sources, but anyway, you were saying that what is it? There's a bunch. You went through Nova.
Yeah. Good old Nova showed up. Oh, to the rescue! You know how Nova is always to the rescue. And if you guys don't know Nova, it's actually never. I was just
never. Okay.
If you guys don't know Nova, it's kind of like if you had McDonald's that taught English and painted everything blue. That's Nova. All right. They pretty much hand out English lessons like Happy Meals, except nobody's happy and nobody gets any food for knowledge, like food for thought.
Yeah, Scott's not the only one who calls it the McDonald's of English teaching. Hundreds of call it.
Oh,
that,
yeah.
So it's not even what is it? Hyperbole at this point.
Oh, no. It's definitely the McDonald's of English teaching. I mean, there's a couple, to be fair, there's a couple schools, but that's a tangent. So I went through their interview, which was by far one of the most brutal interviews ever. No joke. It was like over 2 hours long. You had to get up and give a speech about random slides of Japan to make sure you had learned something about the country before you came there. So I did my best. And then I remember the hardest part of the interview, and I've never had this in any interview before, so this always sticks in my mind, is they'd be like, all right, for the last part of the interview, I have to say a word, and you have to say an immediate response to it. If you do not say anything, I will continue and you will fail the test. Ready? Travel. And I was like, being on your own. And I was like, that's a whole sentence. And like, it's seriously like that. It just kept going. So I was just like,
sounds like speed dating.
Yeah, it was so weird. It was the weirdest thing ever. But I passed. Somehow I passed. All right. I'm sure.
And then they set you up in Osaka?
Oh, actually, that's a good question. Because they were going to set me up anywhere. They were like, guess what? We're going to roll the dice. You can probably show up in like the countryside. All right. And they said, there's only one place we can assure you can get. That's Osaka. And so I researched online. I was like, okay, what's all these different places like? And I saw like, it's like Osaka, fashion capital of Japan. And even to this day, I'm kind of like, really? But they said like it was like media and fashion and like really city life like Tokyo. And I was like, all right, if I can't 100% get Tokyo, then I'll go for the next best thing, Osaka. And I mean, really, that's what Osaka is. It's just like a smaller version of Tokyo. I mean, your Akihabara is our Amimura. Your Harajuku is our Shinsaibashi. Like, it's, you know, same.
Right. Right.
So, yeah. So I was just like, all right, I'll take Osaka. So the only reason they could 100% assure you a position there was because we did not teach face-to-face or man-to-man. We taught the web lessons. Do you know web lessons?
There are web lessons? Okay, no, I did not know this. This is news to me.
Oh my God, you should have saw these contraptions. So we got put in a building of 600 teachers, no joke. It's a giant corporate building. It's like a Nova corporate building that they own. And there's 600 teachers from all around the world in there. And they sent us there, and you never ever see a person face to face. You switch cubicles all over this entire giant building to teach people all over Japan. So like I would teach students from everywhere, from Hokkaido, from Okinawa, and there was a day shift and a night shift. And I worked 11 p.m. till 7 a.m. teaching night shift web English lessons. And you get drunk students, you get sleepy students who fall asleep during your lesson. You get crazy people who just like shout in the middle of a lesson because you'd have 4-man lessons and they just start rambling it was weird.
Wow.
And
that sounds horrible. It sounds like what we're doing now on Zoom, except more coherent.
It's just way more coherent. Like, I mean, there was just so many, like, you know, with a face-to-face lesson, one thing that always helps me out as an artist is if the person doesn't understand the word, I draw it. All right, now try holding a picture that you just drew up to a webcam and be like, I swear this looks like this. It doesn't work. And God, if you would have saw these
back when we had like 480p, like is it, megapixels and everything. Yeah. Anyway, you're saying if I just saw this what?
Yeah. These webcams, they weren't webcams that hooked up to a computer. These were CRT TV connected webcams connected to some sort of like, I don't know what this contraption was, but like it looked like a projector. Like, you know how big and thick a projector is, right? And then this bubble like webcam like had like a rotating joint like arm that would rotate around on it. So the person could point it all different weird ways. So let's say you got like a little kid for a lesson. Of course, they're screwing with this thing the whole time. I taught one lesson where I stared at the kid's nose hairs for like almost the entire lesson. And you know, just like weird stuff, like the person doesn't know they're not on camera, or if they decide they're too shy to be on camera, you teach an empty room. There was even one lady, like we could never explain to her that having a black background and then wearing a turtleneck made her look like a floating head. So everyone would be like, oh, you got the floating head lady. Oh, it's a floating head lady.
Did she get offended by that?
No, she never understood. She didn't speak good enough English. She's like, hello, it's me, a floating head.
Wow. All right. Yeah. So to transition from the floating head. So my next question is,
Sure.
My favorite question, the one that has many answers. What have you done in Japan? I guess this is the main thrust of the interview.
Oh, okay. So like jobs?
Yeah, I guess. Well, I guess starting out, you said that you did Nova, and the title of this episode is, the school that Scott built, and you've made your own English school.
I have made my own.
Like we were talking off, before the show started.
True.
When I tell people about, Scott, Unrested Scott, they're like, oh, he built his own school. They're like, what? Really? Tell me more. And leaning in and everything. And so I figure it's a story people want to hear. Because, probably not that many people have started their own school, or, they don't have the, the confidence to do so. So I'm hoping that you can kind of fill in the blank. What's that?
Sure. Well, my first tip is you don't need confidence. You just need to be like a raging idiot like me. No, okay, I'll do a quick synopsis of how it led up to me building my own school, and then like what kind I've went through. Okay, so Nova finished because they went bankrupt. I went through multiple jobs after that of teaching every level. Like I taught Aiken, which is like the standard test for English. I went through teaching adults in Eikaiwa, English Conversation School. International Yoichien, which is, international kids 1 year old to 6. I did ALT, which is like elementary school as well as junior high school and sometimes even high school. So at that point, I had taught every single level. And almost every time that I did these, there's two things I always did. Number one, I always said to myself, if I just did this myself, I would make a lot more money with no more middleman. And number two, I always said, let's save just a little bit to start something later down the line, because I didn't want to be that 50-year-old guy. Not that there's anything wrong with 50-year-old people. It's okay to be 50 years old. But I didn't want to be the 50-year-old guy who was like trying to control a classroom full of like little elementary school kids and be like, hey guys, calm down. We're going to learn ABCs. I didn't want to be that guy. All right. And by this time too, like I honestly only came here to stay longer than a year. My challenge to myself was all my friends who had tried to do this Japan thing couldn't make it past a year. I'm going to make it longer than a year. Well, 13 years later, I had gotten married, something I never expected to do in Japan. I had 2 kids, another thing I never expected to do here. I bought my first house, something I never even did in America. And finally, whittling away at the cash that I needed to save up led me to a point where I could invest in a school. And I kind of was given, I will say I was given a bit of a perfect opportunity that I waited for. I didn't expect this to come, but pretty much the job and company that my wife's family is connected to owns multiple properties, and one of them they had to get rid of. So I wanted to take that property and convert it into a school. Now, this property was just a simple apartment, okay? But it needed to be horribly refurbished. I mean, gutted. I mean, down to like, you can't keep like the wood on the floors. Everything had to be ripped out. So they made a deal with me. They said, Scott, if you pay for the whole thing to be refurbished, we'll hand it over to you, because then it'll pass like all the building codes and everything like that. We'll be up to date. We won't have to pay any maintenance on it that is beyond like everyday normal maintenance that you pay. And we'll hand it over to you. So I said, I'm down for it. It did cost me a good chunk of all my savings now to do this. Okay. This is not a cheap refurbished job. I mean, you could probably almost buy a house for how much I paid to refurbish this thing. And lucky for me, this apartment was connected to a secondary apartment. It was 2 apartments that were connected, but it had been addressed to one address, if that makes sense. Am I making sense here?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, I mean, I understand Japan. Maybe some people might. If they don't, they'll shout out in the comments. But yeah. Yeah,
okay, so let me put it this way. This is probably the easiest way to explain it. In Japan, everybody pretty much lives in an apartment in the big city, okay? You rarely own a house because land tax is just outrageous. It's insane. So the other thing you've got to realize is every apartment can almost be bought like a condo. You then own everything inside your apartment. Now, the outside can be changed and ownership can change, but you will always own that apartment unless somebody buys it out from you. So it's like owning your own house, all right? So I owned this school. And the only reason I was able to start it after using all my savings to refurbish it was because I did not then need to pay rent.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Wow.
so that's kind of what I meant
Nicely
when I
done.
said I was given like kind of the perfect opportunity. So my thing would be, as a little bit of advice to anyone, is number one, save the heck out of your money. And yes, it is possible. Just don't buy dumb crap in Japan. There's a lot of dumb crap here. I know you want it. Don't buy it. And number two, try to make your rent like near nothing. If you can outright buy the place you're going to use and convert it, I suggest that over trying to rent a place. The biggest failures I've seen, and I watched a lot of schools and I watched a lot of different businesses. I had a friend who started a business, failed. I saw a friend start a school, failed. And one of the main reasons I always saw was they would rent a good location, but then they couldn't afford the rent because they couldn't catch up with getting enough people to pay for the location they were at.
Huh.
So I thought, why not get a location that's easy to pay for, but that I can eventually make a popular and good location for my students? I kind of reversed it. I was like, okay, I'm going to have all this done first, and I'm not going to worry about like, hey, I'm right here at the station. All right. I will say I am in a residential area, so that kind of helps. Like I'm not like, near, I don't know, factories and stuff. It's not a bad part of town. And I also made it really close to an elementary school, so that kind of helped too. But I also...
Well, who are your type of students you're going for? Like, how do you... Because I guess how I understand a business, or at least what I understand, like, the business canvas, right?
What do you... I mean...
That's like, for example, you have in new... I'd have to look up the terms, but the business canvas basically says... You need to have like revenue streams. You need to have people who are interested, prospective students. Like, how do you know to like get in, or like what's your, what kind of demographic are you looking for when you start a school like that?
That was another thing that really helped me with having gone through every different age and type. Since I knew every age and type, I just offered everything. Like when I made flyers, I said, you want adult lessons? Come for an adult lesson. You want a kid's lesson? Bring your kids, all right? And when I made the flyers, I just made it for everything. Did I tell them I was the only teacher? No. Did I end up getting enough people to pay for the school? Yes. So I would say my modus operandi was don't limit myself. I know some people open schools and they only take adults. There's a lot of schools that open and they only take adults, and I don't know why they do that. I made sure I got very good at teaching kids because it is very different from teaching adults. I also made sure I got good at doing the edutainment aspect of English, and I think offering that also made my school more appealing than some others. I know a lot of these ekaiwas, these English conversation schools, they start with adult lessons, and then they would try to add kids English. And if you've just been teaching adults the whole time, you never learn how to teach kids. Like there's just no comparison. Like, people who are adults are there to learn how to have an actual conversation. Kids want to have fun. That's it. They're not like, oh, I can't wait to talk to the bellhop when my mommy takes me to the hotel in Guam.
Yeah.
That's what parents imagine. The kid's like, yo, you got computers in Minecraft? Like that's what the kid wants to do, So I learned right away back when I started that I needed to know how to teach every age so that I could not limit myself when I opened my school, because the biggest failures I saw were people limiting themselves. So I guess my business canvas was accept everything, and I even took it to the part where, like, if people came in and they're like, look, I'm a business person, I only want to do business English. I said, yeah, that's fine. I had dentists in there before who were my students. They only wanted to learn dentist type English. I had doctors come in and they're like, here's a form I just want my patients to fill out. Can you help me correct this so it doesn't sound like gibberish? And yeah, okay.
So wait, basically, like, how you got students were they people you already knew, or were they just like walk-ins?
They were walk-ins. Number one,
really?
I made...
So, like, did you say 100% of them are walk-ins?
Well, I hand out flyers. That was... I do that level of marketing. I mean, I hand out flyers in the most traversed areas near my school. I've paid companies to stuff flyers into people's mailboxes. But, even that, I only choose like about a mile radius around my school. But they walk in after they get the flyer. I've never been like, hey, why don't you come on in? I think that would be kind of creepy in Japan, don't you think? Like, a little. You want an English lesson, man? Come in my school. Come on.
Like, put your hat backwards. You're like, yo, dog, what's up? Come on in here. Let's speak the God's language, yo. Yeah, just like coerce them into the school. Yeah, that'd be odd. It'd be very odd. I found... Continue.
Go ahead.
I was going to show you that I found the business model canvas thing here. You probably can't see it, but it says the people in the chat or the Twitch can see it. There's this thing called, with a business model canvas, you have key partners, key activities, key resources, value propositions, customer relationships, channels, customer segments, cost structure, and revenue streams. Or at least this is what I've always been shown when you need to have a successful quote-unquote business.
Okay, I will say this. We had a financial planner help us set it up, and he made me do all that. Like, to be honest, I really didn't know every single thing. This is my first business ever. So, like, he was like, look, I need to know how much paper you're going to be buying for the printer every month. I need to know how many kids you expect you might get every month. I need to know how much ink cartridges cost for your industrial printer. Like, yeah, there was a person who helped me, and like I had to pay somebody to do my business tax too. I don't know how to do any of that. I mean, or apply for the business certificates to make sure I'm a legit business. But that was part of my savings too. Was I made sure when I got into it, I wasn't just like gonna open my door and shout "School open," hope it works. So I did do that.
Like, where did you find this financial planner? Did you just like find them on the internet? Like, find good financial planner thing.
I am make good your financials. Please contact it is friends.
How make money good and not bad? Do you just like look them up on Google or?
It is the thing that makes you money. You want me? I am friend. Contact. No, sorry. To be honest, I mean, it was a guy who had already helped my wife with her family's business, and they said he was great. So I'm not going to be like, well,
okay, so like referral.
Is really successful. I'll go find my own. Yeah, I guess, a referral. Yeah.
Oh, okay, I see. Huh. All right. And so things
I would suggest that
you suggest things what?
I would suggest that to anybody, unless you're like a business major. I mean, especially if you're like artistic like me. I mean, I am a raging idiot when it comes to like financial planning and stuff. Like I just, my mind is whatever the side of the brain is that is art. That's it. That's all I got going on, man. Like science and math is just cut off, is a dead black space on a brain scan. So hire a financial planner. Don't try to like, business yourself unless you are a business major.
Noted. All right. Well, so let me ask you this: are you the only person at your school? Have you hired any other teachers?
I have an office lady. I did hire one other teacher. I actually ran a program for a short time where I trained teachers, but I kind of got. I will say I kind of got screwed over on that. I had two of the teachers that I trained, and I did do paid training. I did, and they were using my school. I was working with a sister school to train teachers to send them off to their schools to be able to teach kids, because a lot of transient teachers that come to Japan, there's nothing wrong with that, being a transient teacher going job to job. They've never had any experience with this. They're fresh out of college. They've never taught the kids. And I had been doing kids teaching for like 10 years at this point. And I had a few come through there that I paid. They worked at my school, and I paid them a training fee that was then backed up by the sister company.
Can I ask, what's the sister company?
The one that I worked with?
Oh, okay. So it was an English school that you already knew, that they kind of helped you with.
Yeah, I can't really say their name because I don't know how much they want to be involved. Yeah.
No, that's fine. I mean, talk about what you can.
Yeah. I don't know how much they want to be mentioned on YouTube. You know how actual Japanese-owned schools are. You know how it is.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, but it was a school I had actually worked with in the past, and they liked my teaching, and they knew when I left I was only leaving to start my own school, and they're like, "How would you feel about teaching some of our teachers?" And so they used me in that way. So that was very. I mean, at the beginning when I had almost 0 students, the first 3 months, the first 3 years almost were just brutal to get up to enough students.
So wait a minute. When did you first start this school? If you're saying 3 years, that means it was 2017.
I've been going for 3 years now. Yeah, about 2017. Yeah, you can go back and look at the website. I've been going for about 3 years now. Yeah.
Wait, the name of the school is TLC. You're saying?
Yeah,
that's the name.
TLCENG.org. Let me make sure.
Oh yeah, it's not. TLC was taken. Yeah, I guess it would be. I guess
it was
a television channel in the U.S. If you ever watched that show, I mostly just watch TLC for their what's that one? My Weird Obsession. It would be like the most entertaining thing on the entire show.
Let me just make sure I got my own
channel.
Right. TLC. Wait, no, not TLC.com. TLCENG.org.
Welcome to Why Come Japan, where we check our hyperlinks.
I don't to be honest, I don't take care of the official site. My office lady does WordPress for it.
Oh, really?
Sometimes, yeah, so I don't really even... You know what? Just type in, if you really want to find it fast, TLC English Academy.
I'll put it in the... I'll put it in the description below after this episode's over.
Don't spam the automatic mailer on there, please.
Yeah, no, I won't do that. Just the website.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That's fine.
Yeah, you learn the hard way when you put your your email address.
It is. Okay. It's TLCENG as in English .org, and you will see right away. Yeah, it's the inside of my school, my face, my juggling stuff.
Can you shoot me the link? I'll put it in the chat if people want to check it out.
Sure. I'll do that right now. But yeah, I've been going for 3 years, man. Yeah, I thought you already knew.
I didn't know this because number one, you've been off YouTube for a while, and it's not like you're making a video every day saying, "Check out my new school." It's like, "This is my digs, yo," and you're going around showing everybody everything, but.
I think though, if you check the channel, I think even I did start to show my school at the beginning, but honestly, half the reason I left YouTube was it was so brutal at the beginning. I mean, starting now I'm doing okay. Now I'm pretty much in the black all the time. I'm, getting, cash money, millionaire, gold teeth, driving my Benz. But before, I was setting up cardboard boxes and teaching out of those. It was really rough at the beginning. All right, where are you at on here?
Wait. You're using cardboard boxes like as tables?
No, I'm joking.
Oh, okay. I mean, I can see you doing it. No offense, but I'm not saying that to offend you. I'm just saying that if resources are low, you got to do what you got to do.
No, it was, man. It's really, it's like you said. You're just hoping people, have cold walk-ins, and I mean. You do eventually get that. You get people calling. You get people being interested. But at the beginning, the first 3 months, I had 1 or 2 students a week, and that's it. And they were, only there for a 1-hour class. So, you expect to lose a lot of money at the beginning. I hope everybody knows that about starting a business, though. Expect,
Oh, never mind. Scott, Brandon Dione, one of my mods, put the link in the chat. So.
Oh, thank you. Whoever did it, thank you.
If you ever start Twitch, Scott, you need these mods. They'll save your life.
That's good.
They help keep out the drunk, trolly people.
Hold on, let me need these mods. Okay, I wrote it down. Good. All right, it's good.
I guess I've been pivoting onto Twitch lately because YouTube, it's yay, I got 100 views. Damn.
Yeah, but what happens when you have a nip slip on here, bro? You're gonna be gone.
Yeah.
No, but that was the hardest part. Was the very beginning really was rough. Everybody should expect to lose money at the beginning. It was brutal. You will really go through blood, sweat, and tears at the beginning. I think of any business really. I don't know if I was ready for that, but it was part of the reason that I left YouTube for like almost 2 years, because I was literally stressed out like every day, like literally like can't sleep. Like, how am I going to make this work? Am I the worst teacher ever? You're not a bad teacher. You may have learned how to teach great, but I just hadn't learned the business side of it. I had to slowly and gradually learn what sell really well.
Huh. Do you have any plans for hiring new teachers at any point? Or are you just,
we're getting
it's just the school of Scott?
I don't see, like, I did the staff thing for a while. Here's a problem I ran into. Here's a real problem I ran into. Okay, so when I see other gaijin who need jobs, I want to help them out, dude. I'm not one of these guys. If I see you on the street, I'm not going to give you the stink eye and be like, no, this is my territory. I came to Japan first. I speak more Japanese. I'm not that guy. I'm the guy who will be like, hey, you doing okay? Like, are you enjoying Japan? Like, what can I do to help out? Like, I've had plenty of people come to me and I've gotten them jobs at other schools before. But where I kind of got screwed over with this one was one of the groups, I'm not going to name any names here, but one of the couples that came to use this service that we had to train them and then send them off to the job decided to fake. I don't know exactly how this went down, but one of them faked an illness. The wife, it was a husband and a wife who came to train at my school. One of them faked an illness, started requesting all this backup on like healthcare. And I have a certain level of healthcare at my school that'll cover teachers, but because they hadn't been here long enough to get like their gaijin card, they didn't have like national healthcare in Japan yet. So I was at first covering them with like some travel insurance my school has, and then it started to get like out of pocket. And then later I found out like the whole thing was like fake. Like they had been pretty much like faking it the whole time. And I felt really screwed over. I had paid, it wasn't a ton. It was like $1,000 out of pocket, which that's a lot in Japan for healthcare. But I just couldn't believe, I was just so disappointed because I was like, I gave you a job. I hooked you up with another job. I trained you. And then I made sure you were okay when you went to the hospital and you stole $1,000 from me. That's like how, and so after that, like I didn't really want to hire anyone anymore. I was kind of like jaded after that. And
yeah, that sounds bad.
Yeah. So maybe still to this day, I kind of have, I've always felt like if I open another school, maybe I would hire a teacher at that other school where I wasn't there. But I don't, man, it's your baby. It's kind of like when you leave your kids with somebody and you're like, hey, I know you're really responsible and I know you'll watch my kids, but then you'll still worry about them when you're gone.
Yeah.
Like it's kind of like that with your own business. So will I ever hire, if the students ever gets to a point where I'm just like, this is too insane. Like I have had some days like that where I'm like, oh my God, I really wish I had another teacher right now. But it's not like that every day, especially right now during Corona, which that also makes me think like, what if another coronavirus happens? I would have had to fire a teacher. How would I feel about that? Like, I've had to fire employees that were office people before and I felt bad. So I don't want to have to do that.
So wait a minute. Let me ask you about that. How are you holding up during all this Corona stuff?
I'm kind of lucky in that sense because I have my lessons scattered through the day, right? So when I get kids, it's not every single kid at the same time. It used to be like that when school was in session. The kids would end school and like 5 or 7 kids would show up after school and I teach all of them for 3 hours. But now they're doing individual lessons scattered through the day so that they don't see each other face to face. So I'm still getting students. Some have requested they only want to do web classes, which is fine. I don't mind that. Some, yeah, they're just like, well, I'll come back when Corona's over. But it's really only like one student I had do that so far. So I still have almost like the same amount. I gained one student who was just kind of like desperate for childcare. They're like, I know I've never gone to your school and my kid doesn't speak English, but please take my kid. And I'm just like, yeah, sure, you're gonna pay, right? Come on in. I don't care.
Can you watch my kid, please? Anything, please. Yeah. Just do it.
You'd be surprised, man. There's a lot of people who are just like, yo, I will pay you anything to watch my kid, dude. Just keep them happy and busy. If they came home and they're safe, they're healthy, they said they had a good time, you've done it. You've done your job. I don't care if they ever speak English. Like that's one thing I've learned. There's a lot of people that are like, I don't care if they ever speak English. Just let them have fun. let them play with a gaijin, like do the
Right.
dancing bear tricks.
Well, you hear
All
about a
right.
lot of expats who come to Japan and they teach English, and then they get very jaded, and they eventually start hating the job. Would you say there's certain aspects of this job that you love? Because I mean, I can't think of many people who say, "Man, I love my English teaching. Such a great job." I mean, I
can
imagine
understand
like,
that.
have you come to love it over the years? Because I imagine there's been a lot of people who they get really tired of it. They get jaded and they just start hating everything. But then, you know the type. The people who live here who dunk on Japan all the time, but then they don't really improve their situation.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, I think it really is how you teach it. If you're teaching it in a way that's not fun for you, then I mean, you're really only screwing yourself over. I mean, you're kind of screwing the kids over too, because if they see you not being energized, how are they going to be energized? I will say I went through periods of that in the past. I will say one thing that I had to change to make sure I could keep getting something out of it and enjoying it is I couldn't follow a lot of the same rituals, traditions, classes, worksheets, workbooks that old schools have. Like, so first of all, swamping a kid with a bunch of stuff to write on worksheets is just not my style. Like, I know a lot of schools do that. They're like, yeah, why write this word, these giant words that you can't speak? Just write them a bunch. Now you remember them, right? Oh, you can only spell them? You can't say them? Perfect, good. Or I don't do anything like that. I really don't
Who cares?
Yeah, I don't care too much about spelling. I don't try to make their spelling perfect. I try to keep conversation very light, but one thing I never do is I never change to Japanese for them. I'll just keep pointing to it and saying it. Like, I'll be like, computer, it's a computer. This is a computer. This is a monitor. And that's another thing I want to tell people is you need to make it like fun for you, dude. What are you doing if you're still like using these old habits? Like, if you run your own school, you're controlling everything. Like, stop and make it fun. Like, what's fun for me? I like to draw and I like to play video games. Guess how I teach English? Like, we draw everything. Like, I get all these arts and crafts out. I mean, one of the best things is I got like an industrial printer and I print out all these arts and crafts projects. And like, they take it home. If they take home something they're really excited, that's like a toy almost, their parents are happy you gave them something and they're happy they get to play with something. And they remembered the name to it, like 3-in-1 deal. They're stoked. If I do video games, I don't just say, yeah, we're just going to do like Doom. All right. We're not going to play that. Like, we'll do Minecraft, like education version. And I'll make sure they know like the names of the blocks, like in English. And like the stuff in that game is like real stuff, dirt, grass, mountains, trees. These are real life things that you say and see, maybe if we played like Halo, they might not have, much use for those kind of words, but we're playing like, games that we can learn stuff from. And they get so excited about it. They don't know they're learning. And I'm having fun because I'm playing one of my favorite games. I'm drawing my favorite stuff to draw. I always have a Halloween party because I love scary stuff and I'm trying to make it as scary as I can. And the weird thing about Japan is they really don't care if you scare the shit out of their kids for like Halloween and stuff. They're like, yeah, well, it's Halloween. You got to do that, right?
Interesting. I did not know this. Okay. Well, like in the U.S., they would be concerned. Dude. Like, where have you drawn the line in the U.S.? They're like, okay, I can't show that. That's too scary.
All the time, dude. Are you kidding? Like, I mean, I grew up in the Bible Belt, and as an artist, every monster I ever drew, people would be like, are you a Satanist? Do you worship the Dark Lord? And I'd be like, no, I just like monsters. Is it okay? Can I just draw monsters? I play Dungeons and Dragons. Oh, you play devil games and speak devil language, don't you? Like, I mean, I was a kid who grew up on like RPGs, like, I liked the old Tolkien books and stuff like that. And like the groups I grew up with, like I went to Catholic school my whole life. I was told all of that was just like straight Satan worship. A dodecahedron was communication with the Dark One himself.
Right. Well, so let me ask you this. So you've been absent from YouTube for quite some time. Do you have any plans? I mean, like, it's just mostly because the business has been like, keeping you from YouTube. Do you still really enjoy making videos? Because like I've been on kind of a hiatus from it. Well, not anymore, but I used to be like back in 2012 and 2013, 2014. But what's your overall opinion about it at this point?
I feel like it was maybe the best decision I ever made to take such a long break. Like, now that I'm back, I really feel like how I felt at the beginning. I will say, for me, I have to be very conscious though, or I will get into a funk again. Number one, I need to be conscious of like how my interaction with the small community of J-vloggers is. I need to be present and sensitive to people's feelings while not getting too involved into them. So as there is with any YouTube group or community, there is drama. I need to stay completely away from that. I'm too old for that now. I don't want to take sides on anything. I want to do my videos my way, and that should never be changed or corrupted by anything, no matter how much YouTube changes, no matter how much SJWs take over the YouTube environment. I will never change. And I think, you know what the most important rule is if you want to stay inspired to make videos? Never ever make YouTube for profit. Don't ever try to do YouTube to make money. If your idea is that you're going to be the #1 top star and be a cash money millionaire with YouTube, you're doing it for all the wrong reasons. So I feel great now doing. I probably am gonna go for another 10 years on that, at least.
10 years on YouTube, you mean?
Another 10 years. I've been on there for 10 years. I took about a year and a half to 2 year. I don't know exactly how long it was. It feels like it was 2 years. It was probably only really 18 months, but
Right.
It was good, man. It was good to take a break. I think there should be a point where every YouTuber should, especially if you've been doing it for like ages, like if you've been doing it for 5 years or more, and if there's ever a point where you start to just feel really burned out creatively and with the community and with drama, or that you're not getting the amount of likes you want or the views you want or the subs you want, just take a step back, take a deep breath, remember why you started it, and go back to those roots. Like, that's what people need to do. That's really what everybody needs to do. If you're out there to work the algorithm and make it a full-time, then let yourself be stressed out, because that's your job now. Okay, fine. But if you want to actually enjoy it, go back to your roots.
Right. Well, because you make a lot of content you've made a lot of content on YouTube, mostly like JFAQ, Japan Frequently Asked Questions. You made like a couple of movies. Like one's
Yes.
Like one's, it was mostly just starring you, right? In most of these.
Dude, I'm the best actor ever. No, I'm really only put myself in the movies because it was just hard to like collaborate on times with people. Yeah, I mean, I've made a few movies. They're pretty doggone awful. They're pretty much garbage, but I had fun making them though. That's all that mattered to me. I more so stick to, I know exactly what you're talking about with the movie stuff. It was getting into kind of like scary content. This is actually like before like creepypastas even started, and I don't know what else, like Reddit true stories, like Let's Not Meet Again type creepy stuff, and ghost stories, paranormal things. I really was I've always been into like urban legends, and the amount of urban legends Japan has is just like off the charts. Like the amount of Nichan creepypastas that existed way before creepypasta was ever like anything at all is off the charts. There's so much to delve into. And then there's actually just like, storytellers in Japan, their job is just to tell scary stories. Like that's all they do. And so I always enjoyed that aspect. I mean, the thing that always enchanted me most about Japan was its horror. Like it's splatterpunk, it's avant-garde in the horror section. Now every horror movie sucks in Japan. Sorry, Japan, but it's true. And but I still crave those really deep, scary, psychological stories. And I did make movies about those, but now I just do Osoroshi Saturday. That's probably my other most popular show. It's just called Osoroshi Saturday.
And that's mostly like talking about scary things in Japan. Is that right?
Yeah, I have a pretty basic thing I stick to. I do haunted places like Shinrei-kan or Reikan, like means like a haunted point.
Right.
And those are places that like you can factually look up. I try to make at least one thing that it's like, oh, this really exists. Like he's not just BSing us with a scary story. So I try to add one real thing. Then I get into like at least maybe one thing where you look at some piece of media. It's called Real Ghosts ? But REEL, like real, like movie reel.
Right.
So real ghost, is it a real ghost? And then I show, there's so many clips in Japan of like, this person saw a ghost, dude. Like, and you're like, okay,
yeah, or like one of these things where it's like I saw Kappa and he was this big in the picture, you know?
Like, somebody sucks at Photoshop. Like, I mean, most of it. I tell my viewers right away, I'm like, I don't believe in anything. Like, I believe in the possibility. I'm open to the idea, but just so you guys know, I don't believe in any ghosts or anything like that. I'm not going to start giving you like a psychic reading or anything. But I love how creepy. I love the feeling some of those videos can make you feel. I feel like fear is the most raw emotion, so I really enjoy it. And the last thing I always show is usually something called bukimi bites. And bukimi, just you know the word. It just means creepy. It's another word for creepy. And bites is like BYTES, so it's like either a game, digital media, maybe a website, and something that's like a creepy interactive aspect of Japan. So there's like so many ultra creepy visual novels that nobody's ever played. Like if you ask everybody like, what's a really scary visual novel? They'll be like, The Letter. And you're like, it's not, everybody knows The Letter. Like that's a really famous, I don't know, do you know visual novels?
I guess so. I don't know.
Visual novels are those like really slow video games you play where you just like keep clicking through like
I hate those. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Like ultra creepy, like Saya no Uta, and like there's some really, really creepy ones. Or people don't know, like there's like really rare stuff they just don't know about. Like have you ever seen the Japanese horror movie called The House? It's like
I've seen House. Is that different? The Japanese one. That's like kind of like Beetlejuice.
Yeah, the Japanese one is like really goofy. It's like there's a girl who does karate and there's a cat that kills the girls.
Yeah, that's a good one. The director of that movie just died recently.
But did you know this? The 8-bit NES Nintendo had a video game made after that movie.
Was that what, Sweet Home? I think I've heard of it.
Yeah. And it's totally goofy. Like it's like the weirdest looking game ever. And sorry, I'm mixing it up with Sweet Home, aren't I? I've seen both movies. I've seen Sweet Home too. Sweet Home's the one where they go to the old house with paintings in it, right?
I don't know. I'd have to check my sources here. I know Sweet Home kind of inspired Biohazard, I think. Because they like if you were check out some of those like, did you know gaming? It was started by Sweet House, a little game in Japan where they talked about it. They always talk like they're.
I didn't know. Did you know gaming was by a small New York Jewish man?
Yeah, I don't know why. Whenever I want to put up somebody obnoxious, I always give them that voice.
It was like a
maybe not obnoxious
Paperboy. Extra. Read all about it.
Yeah, or at least that's how I view the internet, or like assholes or something. Okay. So you've had a lot of success with making like horror videos. Will you continue to make those? I know you also do like advice columns as well.
I really wish. Okay, so yeah, I did advice. Like I did life advice, and I really like doing life advice. I like helping people through problems that they're facing in their life, because I feel like most people, all they need is just to say their problem, and then advice is the thing they know is right, but they just need to hear it from another person. Of course, there's like high level psychological problems that people have that I'm not qualified to talk about. I'm not out there to fix those kind of things. I'm not going to get your like wartime PTSD out of your head or anything like that. But like small things like break up with a girlfriend or something. I like doing that kind of stuff. My only problem with it is I don't feel like it gelled with the whole Japan vibe. Like people came to me for that, and they did pretty well for like a live stream. Like I'd probably get like sometimes up to 200 people to watch that, but
wow,
people were also very confused. I think like they were kind of just like, well, what? But that actually is how I got my whole bring people over to train them for Japan. I made that part of the same thing until I finally got screwed over, and then that kind of jaded my whole complex on like, should I be trying to help people and give them advice? I just got screwed over. I at the same time though, I kind of blame myself for like getting myself into that headspace and letting that being taken advantage of. The horror stuff I'll always do. It's not, I don't know if nothing on my channel is overly popular. I really don't think of myself as any kind of popular YouTuber. I mean, what am I? I'm like a 2,000, 3,000 view on average YouTuber. And that's like if I hit peak, viewing. And I've never gone higher than 100K subscribers. I'm down by about 7,000 now. So, I mean, I don't know. I think, like I said, you just need to be happy and enjoy what you're creating. And if you're not doing it for that, then you should stop.
All right. Yeah, that sounds pretty good. I mean, right now I've been making this podcast. I could tell YouTube really does not like long-form content like this with me talking to people, because it's like my subscriptions have just been like nil. They've been nothing. It's like I had a broad in Japan on this show, and I got nothing. Or like I guess I got a few. Like I hear a few subscriptions here and there, but it was nothing like I just talked to PewDiePie, and then now I'm the second biggest YouTuber in the world. There's nothing like that.
Right.
So I imagine it's probably a different playing field at this point.
I think you're definitely right about that, because me too. I've had those experiences where I'm like, oh my God, I'm talking to this guy. I talked to a guy, I think he might be double the size of even abroad. His name was Vex. I don't know if Vex is still around, but he came to Japan for a while. And we were talking back and forth, and like I was mentioned on his channel, it's not Vex the spray painter. There's a spray painter guy named Vex. He's totally different. And I thought, this is my chance. I'm going to be huge because I've talked to Vex. And no subscribers, like nothing. Like I was just like, oh, this time's finished. I know, I understand why you think that, because back when we started, Give Me a Flake Man gave me a shout out, and I got 1,000 subscribers.
Yeah, right? That was a thing. That really happened.
Yeah, and you felt like an internet god after that. You're like, I am on another playing level. All you 100 Seb peons bow to me. Now it's like, oh, I got a second channel with 3,000 subs on it. So what? Nobody knows who you are, right? Yeah. It's like I said. I think people who are still doing it, who started at the beginning, if you're still doing it now, you're probably doing it because you enjoy it. I enjoy horror, and I enjoy talking about Japan. And I enjoy helping people who are in or going to Japan. And that's probably all I'm going to use my channel for. I've got some other small channels out there. I don't need to mention them. If you find them, great, super. But they're just kind of always side projects I dabble in once in a while. Like I've got one channel that's just like experimental weird horror shorts. And then I've got like another one that's like an advice column for like... I guess it's kind of an advice column for people going through the same kind of troubles we had in high school. Okay. And then the only one that I canceled, I had one I tried to cover kind of like YouTube drama, but that was a really bad idea. What a dumb idea. I'm the worst.
So we're not going to see any more YouTube drama from you?
Oh, no. That was such a bad, I feel like the biggest problem, I love listening to YouTube drama. I will listen to every fight going on YouTube, but covering drama is such a risky business because you don't know when the story's going to flip, and you've been totally wrong and given everybody wrong information and been on the wrong side the whole time, and you feel like a piece of crap for making the video about it. And I don't feel like I should ever make a video that leaves me feeling bad after, feeling like, oh, I really should have never talked anything about that person. And that's where I feel like I need to stay out of drama, because it just bums me out so much. I don't want to make another video.
Right. I hear you. All right then, Scott. Well, the number one question and the title of the show.
Oh, sweet.
Why come Japan?
So is it like why I came to Japan, or why?
You're going to answer it however you like. I'm going to leave it up to the guest. That's up to you.
Well, I feel like I've thoroughly answered why I came. I wanted to stay more than 1 year and then end it my whole life here. But if I'm going to answer it for other people, why should you come to Japan? What should your reason be? Why you should come to Japan is to experience your own culture outside of it. So, for example, if you're an American, come see America through the Japanese eyes. And then also experience Japanese culture through an American eyes. But don't come here to change anything. Don't come here to push your ideals on anyone. Just come here to observe and see what works really well here and what works really well in your country, and see if you can add both of the best working things to your own life. That would probably be my advice.
Huh. All right. I thought you were going to say something like, Because usually when you ask a foreigner the question of why did you come to Japan, the answer is pretty much fuck you. Do you know what I'm saying?
No, I mean, it's a good question. Like, I think because I get asked that all the time. Should I come to Japan to be an anime artist? And it's like, have you ever really looked into the schedule of like how much work an anime artist or a manga artist has? Like, they work until like their fingers bleed, bro. Are you ready to do that? Like, no, you haven't even researched it, have you? You're coming for the totally wrong reason. You're going to come here and you're going to end up hating anime. You're going to end up hating manga, and you're going to hate Japan, and you're going to ruin it for yourself. So don't come here for that. Come here to observe. If you find things you like, if you find a niche you can stick in, awesome. But just come here to observe, see what you like, better your life from it. And then if you find a niche here, stay cool. You'll enjoy it.
All right. Well, we have an interesting comment in the chat. When you're talking about your movie, JM Classic Paragon, a.k.a. John Mija, in my Discord. Anybody who's... I'm going to put my Discord links in the bottom. I'm using that thing a lot. It's like having your own personal social media. I'm putting everything in there. Everybody should go follow. Well, you don't have to follow. It's just me having fun. Actually, no, what it mostly is just me... like I find something on the internet and I don't have anywhere to put it, and I don't really use this one app called Pocket very often where you can save articles or save pictures or whatever. So I just throw it up on that. That's basically what it is. And me just... Okay,
so like a lot of cat pictures and stuff. Cool.
Yeah, mostly cats. No. And turtles and things. No, John Misha says when you were talking about your movie, he was saying that
sure.
You created an idea and you made it, so at least it wasn't a dream. I thought that was pretty poetic. Thank you for that comment, John.
Some people have said that to me, and I feel like that is something all people who want to make a video should think about. That's great inspiration, man. Whoever said that in the comments, tell that to anybody who ever doubts themselves about a movie, because no matter how crap I think mine are, the one thing that always lifted me up that people said is like, yeah, but you made it. But you finished it and you made it and you put it up on YouTube. I'm like, all right, yeah. And they're right. That's true. I did do that. Yeah. So yeah, that's a good compliment. Thank you, man.
All right then, Scott. Is there anything you want to say before we go?
No, I mean, I guess all the questions have been asked. If anybody else has any other questions, like I said, throw it at me. I'm okay with anything. But if not, then I'm good, man.
Yeah, so you can find Scott down below or in the annotations when this goes up on the internet. Happy Mother's Day to all those mothers out there.
Yeah.
I guess that's... You can tell when we did this recording by me saying that. So next week on the show is John Clemens, also known as Mike John from Book of Host. Do you know who that is?
No, John Clemens sounds like a football player.
Okay, no, he was a Mormon missionary turned host, like a hostess or not host.
Whoa, that
host
sounds
club.
Awesome, sweet.
Yeah, you didn't know about John? Yeah, no, I just set up an interview with him.
Was he in the Great Happiness
yesterday.
Space documentary?
No, he knows of it, but I mean, actually, he was wrong one. He was in Osaka, actually, when he was a host. So you can go over to his channel. I mean, he talks about the experience, and he's thinking about writing a book about it, kind of a memoir, and he wants it. Well, we'll talk about it, but
okay, yeah, I don't want to bust up your next plot. And
no. I mean, I don't know too much information about it, so I don't really want to like put information up on the internet. And like they're having people needing to correct, like, no, it's not about that, and no, don't tell people that, because I mean, no, sometimes when you call people, you think in confidence they're not going to say everything they just told you, like through a computer screen. But I don't know. Who knows?
Understandable. All right. I'll probably join and listen to that next week. I'll come into the comments and definitely listen. That sounds really interesting, man.
Yeah. No,
all right, cool.
Yeah. So until then, I'm Radri and
Unrested.
And, hey, Scotty.
Yeah.
Jesus, man.